Chapter 607 Yua arrives. The Sky Dream Iceworm was delighted as he said, I can't fight, but I'm very good at containing energy. Don't forget that I'm a million-year soul beast. I slowly transferred my spiritual power to you, but I still possess my own strength. I've cultivated for a million years, and spiritual power is my specialization. Don't worry and just absorb this soul ring. I'll help you store whatever spiritual power's left. When you can absorb it, I'll fuse this newly found strength into your body. Won't that do? I can still be a container. Who are you? Our eyes brightened. Tang Wutong was also delighted. Yes. The Sky Dream Iceworm was a million-year spiritual type soul beast. Ignoring his ability to fight, he was actually very good at storing energy. He had transferred his spiritual origin to Hua Yuao. Given the amount of energy he had released, it should be fine for him to store the Evil Eye Tyrant King's 700,000-year cultivation. Moreover, it was only his soul ring. It wasn't the immense spiritual power that the Evil Eye Tyrant King possessed. The Snow Empress furrowed her brow and asked, Sky Dream, are you really confident? The Evil Eye Tyrant King's spiritual power is different from yours. His is much more dominant. You must be cautious. Otherwise, if things go wrong. The Sky Dream Iceworm rolled his eyes and said, are you that unconfident? It's only a soul ring. Don't worry. I've got it. Come on. What's there to hesitate about? Yuao, quickly fuse with his soul ring. If you can obtain his light of time, you'll strike gold. Your understanding of spatial power will ascend to another level. You might even understand the profundity of time domains. Hua Yuao fully trusted the Sky Dream Iceworm. Without his fusion then, he wouldn't have gotten where he was today. He sat down without any hesitation. Using his spiritual power as a guide, he started to fuse with the Evil Eye Tyrant King's soul ring. As for the eye bone, Tang Wutong put it away. It wasn't a good time to fuse with it now. He should only consider it when he was preparing to form his third soul core. Hua Yuao's entire body shook tremendously as the dark red soul ring was absorbed into his body. He only felt a terrifying spiritual intent which was strong, dominant and filled with indignation and destructive intent swarming his spiritual sea. It was surging, and was about to tear his spiritual sea apart. But Hua Yuao wasn't easily bullied. His spiritual soul core started to circulate quickly. His spiritual power, which carried some characteristics of ultimate ice, was slowly freezing this spiritual intent before slowly breaking it down. It purified the new spiritual power so that it could fuse with Hua Yuao's body. The Sky Dream Iceworm's strength was demonstrated next. Just like he had mentioned earlier, he devoured all the purified spiritual power into his body before sealing it. With his help, Hua Yuao's absorption went on smoothly. It had to be said that the Evil Eye Tyrant King's spiritual power was immense and dominant. He was indeed a 700,000-year soul beast. Just the essence contained within his soul ring was enough to completely fill Hua Yuao's spiritual sea. At the very start, he could still filter the spiritual power, but after a certain stage, he could no longer do so. This was because he no longer had any time. As every second passed, a large amount of spiritual energy would be released from the soul ring and fuse with his spiritual sea. The Sky Dream Iceworm was strong too. At such a time, he absorbed all that spiritual power without any hesitation. He didn't even let go of the spiritual power that resisted him. He revealed his original form in Hua Yuao's spiritual sea. The golden light patterns that had already vanished from his body were slowly being restored. It was just that with some blood red patterns along with the golden light patterns. It was a manifestation of impure spiritual power. Even so, he still did Hua Yuao a huge favor. Li also appeared above Hua Yuao's spiritual sea. Even though she couldn't devour spiritual power like the Sky Dream Iceworm, she still did her best to filter some of the spiritual power for him. She dispelled some of the brutal and violent aura. In this way, it was much easier for Hua Yuao to fuse it into his body. In this continent, only he was daring enough to fuse with 6 spirits. Furthermore, every one of them was very loyal to him. Right now, there were no longer any conflicts between him and his spirits. They wouldn't interfere with him either. Apart from their trust in him, they also saw hope in him. Hua Yuao's encounter with the god of emotions and subsequent recognition by was simply too overwhelming for these 6 spirits. Even though they all shared the same goal, they didn't bear too much hope when it came to ascending to the ethereal godly realm. They were only feeling lucky that they made their current choice after truly sensing a godly aura, and after realizing how the godly realm treated soul beasts. By following Hua Yuao, they could leave this world and enter that realm, obtaining new life. What was there to whine about? They would do their best to help Hua Yuao, in the hope that they could obtain new life in that realm. It took 3 days and 3 nights before Hua Yuao fused the Evil Eye Tyrant King's soul ring into his body. It wasn't fully complete. This was because the Sky Dream Iceworm's golden light patterns had completely filled his body. This was why Hua Yuao still had to suffer from some of the brutal spiritual power. This left his spiritual sea very unpeaceful. It was as if a storm could break out at any time. Right now, Hua Yuao's cultivation should be that of an ultimate Duluo. He was even a twin martial soul ultimate Duluo. He was also like a rubber ball now. He was filled with air, and could only do his best to keep himself from bursting. If things went wrong, it was likely he would face problems. Yuao, the best solution now is to find a place for you and Wutong to cultivate quietly. It'll probably take longer for your body to absorb so much energy if you do that. However, it's the safest option. Furthermore, both of you have the potential to become ultimate Duluo. The Snow Empress proposed. While Hua Yuao was very powerful now, it was also very dangerous for him. If he faced a strong enemy and overused his powers, he might lose control of the energy that he had not assimilated yet. He would face the danger of death if that happened. The reason why he couldn't absorb all the energy was because his body wasn't adapted enough to do so yet. If he wanted to be able to handle it, he had to cultivate more to make himself stronger. However, could Hua Yuao really find a place to cultivate now? The answer was no. There were still many matters to deal with in Radiant City. Hua Yuao made a rough estimation. If he wanted to completely absorb the energy in his body and make a breakthrough as an ultimate Duluo along with Tang Wutong, he would need at least 3 years. After they became transcendent Duluo, their abilities were increasing too quickly. This made their foundations slightly unsteady. Given this, they couldn't possibly make another breakthrough in the short term. They would run the risk of running amok. However, many things could happen in 3 years. At least, they couldn't enter closed-door cultivation now. First, they had to deal with the problems in Radiant City. It was only by killing Shu Tianran and making Zhu Zi fulfill her 10-year promise that he could bring himself to cultivate and make a breakthrough. After listening to the Snow Empress' opinion, Hua Yuao thought for a brief moment before saying to Tang Wutong, let's go. Let's return to Radiant City. He was telepathically connected to Tang Wutong. Naturally, she understood his worries. She nodded without any hesitation. At such a time, she had to support her man. Furthermore, things had to be settled at the Sun Moon Empire. Without the Holy Ghost Church, the Sun Moon Empire would be able to accumulate enough strength to attack in less than a year's time. This time, they were definitely going to work towards unifying the entire continent. Under such a circumstance, what they could most effectively do was fulfill their promise to Zhu Zi. It was only in this way that the two empires would get some breathing space. Hua Yuan knew that he could stop the Sun Moon Empire in the short term, but he couldn't hold them off forever. After all, he had to challenge DT in the moment he became an ultimate Duluo and accepted the God of Emotion seat. As for what would happen next, he didn't know. The future was unknown. However, the situation in the continent had already changed. The advent of technology had brought the entire continent under the control of Soul Tool technology. This was irreversible. After the Heavenly Soul Empire was invaded, there were many protests at the start. However, as Soul Tool technology slowly crept into people's lives, the protests became less and less vigorous. Ordinary citizens had very simple demands. As long as they could live in peace, had enough to eat, and could keep warm, they were content. Moreover, Soul Tool technology brought them a lot of conveniences. As time passed, they slowly got used to it. They even forgot what had happened before. It seemed like it was possible to reverse the Sun Moon Empire's dominance of the continent. However, no matter what, Hua Yuan had to turn back time, since he was from the Star Luo Empire, and he had to do this for Shrek Academy too. Looking from afar, Radiant City was like a huge beast. Only the Imperial Palace seemed to be a little disharmonious. A few days had passed, but the Imperial Palace was still heavily guarded. Reconstruction was bound to begin soon. Given the power of the Sun Moon Empire, a new palace would be reconstructed in less than 2 years. It would even be more majestic than before, while it would most certainly be more defensively sound. This was the strength of technology. No one could stop the progress of technology. As technology continued to develop, all sorts of problems were developing in society. This also caused changes to the situation in the continent. Hua Yuan couldn't help but sigh heavily when he looked in the direction of the Sun Moon Empire. Tang Wutong held his hand. What's wrong? We should be able to influence proceedings in the entire continent given our current abilities. As long as you're vicious enough, we can kill Ju Zi after we kill Shu Tianran. There will certainly be chaos in the Sun Moon Empire. When that happens, they'll slow down. No matter who ascends the throne, we'll kill him and turn the Sun Moon Empire into a complete mess. One day, the Star Luo and Doling empires will catch up. We just need to protect the continent and stop the Sun Moon Empire from ruling the continent. Huo Yua shook his head and said, if everything is as simple as you think, it'll be great. It's a pity that the world isn't like this. It won't change according to our imagination. If we kill Shu Tianran, there will be internal chaos in the Sun Moon Empire. However, Ju Zi's still around. With her power and influence in the military, she'll be able to control the entire situation. At least, it won't be too chaotic in the Sun Moon Empire. However, if we kill her, the entire Sun Moon Empire will really descend into chaos. The Sun Moon Empire is too powerful. If you let those Soul Engineer legions fight the Star Luo or Doling empires, they'll be almost invincible. Once they aren't restrained anymore and run riot, the entire continent will be affected. Countless lives will be lost to those Soul Engineers. The reason why I've been tolerating Ju Zi is because she doesn't kill for the sake of killing. Unless it's war, she's always been able to restrain her subordinates. Every fight is settled while minimizing casualties. If the continent is unified because of Soul Tool technology, Ju Zi is actually the most suitable person to rule the continent. In this world, whatever stays together too long will separate, and whichever separated for too long will come together. The Heavenly Do and Star Luo empires have ruled the continent for thousands of years, and they've been at odds for thousands of years too. When they destroyed the Martial Hall, many people thought that the continent would enter an era of peace. However, how long did it take? How long did it take for the Heavenly Do empire to split into the Heavenly Soul and Doling empires? The conflicts never stopped. This is why there are so many empires. Perhaps a unified empire might be a good thing for the future of the Duo continent. At least it's a good thing in the short term. Tang Wutong was astonished and she looked at Huo Yuao. She asked, are you in favor of the Sun Moon Empire ruling the entire continent? Huo Yuao shook his head and said, of course not. I'm saying all this because I don't want to see a chaotic continent. We're already strong enough, but we are unable to influence the entire continent. We can't turn the entire continent into a battlefield just because of what we want to see. Moreover, you've seen what happened to Yi Shishui and Elder Long. Ultimate Duo are no longer invincible as Soul Tool technology develops. In the future, the Sun Moon Empire might actually have ways to deal with us. This is why we can rely on our own strength to influence the continent. However, we must know our limits. Comparatively speaking, Ultimate Duo are usually more significant when it comes to asserting a stance. Yes. Tang Wutong sighed gently. In fact, right now, I only hope that we can get as far away as possible from those conflicts. We've been through too much over the past few years. I'm tired. After we conclude our 10-year promise with Ju Zi, we'll proceed with our closed-door cultivation. We'll not care about anything, and become ultimate Duo first. After the 10 years are over, we'll have done our best. Huo Yuao smiled and hugged her thin waist. She came into his embrace. Some things couldn't be resisted, such as the need to conform with the times. Who could say what the continent would be like in the future? 10,000 years ago, who would have expected Soul Masters to be slowly replaced by Soul Engineers? When the Martial Soul Hall ruled the continent, did Soul Tools make Soul Masters so useless? A Soul Master Legion was actually helpless against a Soul Engineer Legion. This was unbelievable. Huo Yuao was still very focused on finding Ju Zi as they spoke. The Sun Moon Imperial Palace had already been destroyed. However, the Sun Moon Empire's Imperial family was still in Radiant City. The few buildings near the palace were snapped up and heavily guarded by soldiers. Huo Yuao discovered a few Soul Engineer legions using his spiritual detection. There was even a complete soul formation. Surveillance Soul Tools were even more prevalent than before. Even if Shu Tianran wanted to visit the washroom, he would probably still be under the surveillance of these Soul Tools. No one could escape them, no matter which building they were in. These buildings weren't very tall or big. The buildings around the palace weren't allowed to be too high. This was a requirement. The palace wasn't built very tall either. This was because tall buildings were easily attacked by Soul Tools. Of course, given the defenses around Radiant City, the new Imperial Palace would probably be much higher if Huo Yuao hadn't managed to successfully lead 3 Soul Engineer legions in a successful attack. Ju Zi was in one of the rooms on the 3rd story of a building. Shu Tianran wasn't with her. He was in another building. The defense there was even stricter. Just by scanning slightly, Huo Yuao understood why the defense was so strict there. Shu Tianran was evidently not confident that the 2 Ultimate Duo were dead. This was why a situation like this appeared. It was no wonder he was so paranoid. Ultimate Duo were too scary. Without being in the same tier, it was impossible for one to gauge how strong they were. If an Ultimate Duo wanted to exact revenge, it was not something anyone could deal with. Shu Tianran must have been living in fear over the past few days. Ju Zi is still the smartest. Huo Yuao sighed. When he sensed the changes in front of him, he even managed to roughly guess what she was thinking. After hearing his words, Tang Wutong was also slightly moved. She asked, are you saying that the strict defense around here is also Ju Zi's ploy? What's the benefit of doing this? If the defense is too strict, it's not going to be beneficial for us. Huo Yuao shook his head and said, if I'm not wrong, Ju Zi must have a backup plan. This shouldn't be her only plan. Think about it. After all, we in the Sun Moon Empire are in conflict. We can't be controlled by Ju Zi either. What would you do if you were her? If it were me, I wouldn't fulfill our promise. However, she has a deep hatred for Shu Tianran. It's not possible for her to not make a move. This is why she must have another plan. This plan should be hatched inside the Sun Moon Empire. I'm afraid she's already bribed some people. She's creating this atmosphere to cover things up. Once Shu Tianran dies, she can plant his death on the 2 Ultimate Duo. It's impossible to verify that theory. What that happens, the Empire will mourn together. Along with her influence in the army, it will be much easier for her to control the entire Empire. Those Imperial family members can't fight her at all. After listening to Huo Yuao's analysis, Tang Wutong was shocked. However, she soon laughing. She was even laughing very sweetly. Why are you laughing? Huo Yuao was stunned. Tang Wutong laughed. I'm laughing because didn't she lose to me even though she's so intelligent? This only proves I'm smarter. What's so good about ruling the continent? How is she as free as us? Most importantly, you belong to me. You completely belong to me. I won't even give her a bit of you. Huo Yuao couldn't help but laugh when he felt Tang Wutong's feelings. Although he was a little uncomfortable with Ju Zi's ambitions and cunning, it was still acceptable to him. After all, she would become a sacrifice in the environment that she was in. Let's go. Let's go and give her some help. Huo Yuao led Tang Wutong as they fused into the void. This time, they were borrowing the power of space. When they appeared again, they were already inside Radiant City, in a dark corner. They didn't reveal themselves. The perfect combination of imitation and spatial control generated such an effect. Along with the adjustment of temperature and control of their spiritual undulations, Huo Yuao managed to fuse with the air. At least, the current soul technology meant that it was almost impossible to expose them. Space broke open once again. Huo Yuao and Tang Wutong entered the building Ju Zi was in. It was a luxurious and expansive hotel. Undoubtedly, it was the estate of the Sun Moon Empire's Imperial family. Ju Zi was in the biggest room on the 3rd story. There were more than 10 maids in the room. Right now, she was with her son. Shu Yanan was no longer the little fellow that needed to be carried all the time. He had grown quite significantly and was running around. He was very cute and was doted on by everyone. Ju Zi was sitting on a luxurious, high seat. When she looked at her son running around the room, there was a benevolent look on her face. How could anyone imagine the invincible war god empress in this state? Yanan, run slower. You're already sweating. Get some water. Ju Zi waved to her son. Little Yanan ran to her side and opened his eyes wide as he looked at his mother. There was a grin on his face. Mom, I want milk. Ju Zi twisted her lips. Rascal, you're already so old. I'm long out of milk. Little Yanan was just like other little kids. He was very close to his mother, who had breastfed him since he was young. He climbed onto Ju Zi and was smiling as he rubbed his mother's chest. Ju Zi hugged little Yanan tightly. At this moment, he was everything in her heart. She only felt fulfilled when she hugged him. She didn't think of anything else right now. She was completely immersed in the joy she shared with her son. Ju Zi. A soft voice sounded in her ears. Ju Zi shuddered. Little Yanan immediately sensed the changes to his mother. He lifted his head and looked at her. What's wrong, Mom? Juzi was stunned for a moment. Her eyes turned red. At the same time, the two most important men in her life appeared. It was an indescribable feeling. She wanted to tell the little fellow in her arms that the person he had once called his father was here. She even wanted to jump into that person's embrace with him. When she thought until here, she felt as if her heart was being scalded by hot water. She couldn't tell whether it was painful or relieving, precisely because that day never seemed to come. She desired it so much when both of them were in front of her right now. After pausing for a few seconds, Juzi kissed her son when that voice didn't appear again. She said, Yanan, I have something I need to deal with. Leave with Ani first. As she spoke, she waved her hand. Naturally, a servant came over and took little Yanan away. Juzi waved her hand, and all her servants retreated. She walked to her work desk before sitting down. She forcibly tried to calm herself down before muttering, Don't reveal yourself. Once you reveal yourself, you will be discovered. She really wanted to see him. However, that was obviously not a good choice. As she slowly calmed down, she couldn't help but feel astonished. Given the current defenses around here, she had originally thought that Hua Yuao and Tang Wutong wouldn't be able to find her. This was because all the surveillance cell tools in this building were targeted at Ultimate Duo. Juzi couldn't even sleep every night, and could only meditate to restore her energy. She didn't even know how long this would last. Anyway, Shu Tianran had already given the order to await the revenge that could come at any time. At the same time, the search for the two Ultimate Duo had intensified. Before they were found, Shu Tianran was not going to relax. He still wanted to rule the entire continent. No one else was more afraid of death right now. Hua Yuao's voice sounded once again. We won't appear. I've also scanned this place thoroughly. Have you thought of what plan you have? How are we going to deal with Shu Tianran? Juzi revealed a bitter smile on her face and said, I had originally thought that you couldn't sneak in, and we'd have to make another plan. The defenses here are too strict. There aren't any loopholes. The Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineer Legion is with him. There are also many strong individuals protecting him. Unless we assault him, there's no way of killing him. However, an assault is impossible too. This is why we can only wait now. We'll wait for him to make a mistake. How long can the two of you wait? We can't wait any longer. Hua Yuao answered without any hesitation. It wasn't that he was impatient. It was that the energy in his body had no patience. Right now, he was under huge pressure from the Evil Eye Tyrant King's spiritual power and Long Xiaoyao's soul power. Given the strength of his twin soul cores, he was even a little overwhelmed. Right now, what he needed was time to cultivate so that he could fuse the spiritual and soul power into his body. This was why he had to quickly settle things here. However, he couldn't wait until he finished cultivating before he returned. He had a feeling that this closed-door cultivation would be his longest one ever. It might take several years, or even a decade. No one knew. Things would change greatly within that span of time. This was why he had to settle things over here before he went to cultivate. Juzi furrowed her brow. You can't wait. I can't think of a better way now. Shu Tianran is very cautious right now. He only trusts the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineer Legion now, as well as those who are secretly and hiding around him. He's protected by them. There are also many powerful soul formations installed around this makeshift palace. Once there's any movement, they will immediately be activated. Although they're still weaker than high-energy compression array soul tools, they're still effective against the attacks of Ultimate Duo. Tell me, how are we supposed to touch him then? When she saw the helplessness on Juzi's face, Hua Yuao said, Juzi, let's be honest. If I'm not wrong, you should have been involved in creating such a situation. The reason why you are doing this is because you want to frame those two Ultimate Duo. Am I right? Since this is the case, you must have a backup plan. You should have someone close to Shu Tianran. I won't play around with you either. I'll make an opportunity for you. I'll create a miracle for you. I don't care how you want to control the Sun Moon Empire in the future, as long as you fulfill your promise not to start a war in the next 10 years. I'm fine with anything else. Juzi didn't appear astonished. She sighed and said, Why do you understand me so well? Do you know that this isn't good? I'll continue to have ideas of you. They can only remain as ideas then. Tang Wutong said coldly. Juzi's expression changed, and she replied, It's not a good time now. I can create an opportunity for you, but your safety is not guaranteed. I don't want you to die here either. That's why I hope that both of you can wait for a more opportune time. Hua Yuao was persistent. No, we can't wait any longer. We must act now. As for our safety, you don't have to care. We have our own ways of escaping. You just need to make an opportunity for us. Juzi was astonished as she asked, You're so confident. I can tell you a few things. Hua Yuao said calmly. First, Long Xiaoyao and Yi Shishui are both dead. We helped them escape, but they died in front of us. As for the Holy Ghost Church, you don't have to worry about them. We've killed almost all their senior officials. They won't be a threat anymore. Their headquarters is in the Evil Demon Forest. We also destroyed their resources with a Class 9 shell. We even alarmed the Evil Eye Tyrant King. What? Juzi was astonished as she stood up. She was really shocked now. Her eyes were wide open. What kind of existence was the Evil Eye Tyrant King? She didn't really have much of an understanding of things in the Duo continent. However, she had heard many legends about the Evil Eye Tyrant King as someone from the Sun Moon Empire. The Sun Moon Empire even had a Soul Engineer Legion named after him. To some extent, the Evil Eye Tyrant King was like a symbol in the Sun Moon Empire. Hua Yuao and Tang Wutong managed to escape unscathed after meeting the Evil Eye Tyrant King. This shows how strong they are. Are you okay? Is anyone hurt? Juzi asked anxiously. While she was asking both of them, it was obvious who she was concerned about. Hua Yuao replied, He's dead. We killed him. Now, you should know why I'm confident. Zhongluo and Feng Ling are both dead too. Take it as a gift from us. You shouldn't have any misgivings now. The priority now is to kill Shu Tianran. As for what will happen next, I don't care. I just hope you can fulfill your promise. After that, Wutong and I will proceed somewhere else to cultivate for some time. Juzi was silent. She slightly lowered her head. She didn't let Hua Yuao and Tang Wutong look into her eyes. Hua Yuao could sense that she was quickly thinking of something. He didn't rush her either. He only waited silently. Now, it was important to give her some time to think. A brief moment passed. When Juzi lifted her head again, the look in her eyes was already very determined. She wasn't as gentle as before. The War God Empress was back. Wait here. I'll go out for a while. We'll attack tonight. After she finished speaking, she quickly walked out. Hua Yuao was in fact very curious. Under such strict monitoring, how was she going to expedite the matter? It wasn't going to be easy for her to deploy her people. This was because all movements in the makeshift palace were monitored by surveillance soul tools. She was also the War God Empress. There were bound to be many eyes on her now. Thanks so much for watching this video. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Also leave a comment down below with suggestions on what novels to read.